And now we can proceed with the second session of today's agenda, of course, of the last part of our international conference. I have the honor and the great pleasure to call to the stage Mrs. Professor Stella Kyvelou at the Department of Economic and Regional Development of Pantheon University of Social and Political Sciences in Greece, and to present us a presentation with the title Integrating Maritime Cultural Heritage in Maritime Spatial Planning and Blue Economy, Insights from the HERSEA Research Project. Mrs. Kyvelou, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Venetti, for this invitation. I'm really happy to be with you again after last conference, remember, at the Acropolis Museum. Hello everyone. My presentation will be twofold. On the one hand, I will present to you some insights from our work at the European MSP platform, and on the other hand, from a project, a national project funded by the Hellenic Foundation for Research and Innovation, known as HEVEC. That was, I'm principal investigator of, and has to do with the creation of an observation network, let's say, in the community of practice concerning MUCH, maritime and underwater. Underwater, in fact, is included in maritime cultural heritage. So when I will say maritime cultural heritage, I will also mean include the underwater cultural heritage. First of all, let me explain to you what is the assistance mechanism for implementing the MSP in Europe. It is the so-called European MSP platform. You can go and visit the website of this platform, which is really rich, contains rich knowledge and information about maritime spatial planning in the European continent. This is our service is a service for member states to share relevant knowledge and experience on maritime spatial planning. And since its inception, the AM MSP's role is to support the member states on the one hand, and the DG Mare, the Directorate General, in the implementation of the MSP directive. Perhaps you know that this MSP directive, issued in 2014, is the Directive 89 of 2014 about MSP for the first time. And now, this year, we were in Marseille for the 10 years, for the MSP week. That was the 10 years of this directive, and tried to see what we have done and what we can and we have to do, and how to proceed with the next decade, let's say, of MSP in Europe. Recently, this platform was enhanced, the role of this platform was enhanced, since we are also taking care of the organization of a Blue Forum. The European Commission would like to form a Blue Forum, which is brings together on the same table scientists, offshore operators, and stakeholders in order to have a real implementation that is win-win for everybody. That's not working. Okay. Well, in fact, our work is not only on the purely tangible and intangible cultural heritage, but broadly on the cultural values in maritime spatial planning. Cultural values in spatial planning, and these cultural values, if you like, encompass also the cultural ecosystem services in spatial planning. Is a broader issue that is also among the main themes of the Ocean Decade program. You see there. I'm sorry, but you see cultural values and ocean literacy also is really a topic of major interest in the framework of the Ocean Decade. Furthermore, I would say that according also to the roadmap 21-27 of the MSP Global, we can see that the very center of these cross-cutting issues and thematic issues of this strategy are people in the ocean, people in the sea. And this is what really also marine archaeology is taking care of, is studying people in the ocean from a historical perspective, of course. Another information I would like to give you is that this assistance mechanism has published a handbook, a little, let's say, handbook on underwater cultural heritage in MSP. It was written by myself and my colleague Yves Enoch and Chris McDougall, and it is online on this platform. Why, what, and for whom this handbook? It is in order to help, first of all, public administration bodies responsible for establishing maritime spatial plans, the MSP authorities, as we say. Here in Greece is the Ministry of Environment and Energy. At any level, within European Union, the local authorities also and stakeholders, because we have, the Commission has acknowledges that implementation of maritime spatial planning depends a lot on the action of the local authorities and stakeholders, on their perceptions, on their acceptance of what is purely state action. Then knowledge providers in general, professionals and consultants, of course, maritime or marine archaeologists and their institutions, and the general public. This has no sense. You know what underwater cultural heritage means. On the contrary, this slide is important, in my opinion, because you can see here some short key messages on underwater cultural heritage made by a technical, educational, scientific and cultural, by UNESCO, yes, by a technical committee of the UNESCO. It was in 2022 in Tunisia that UNESCO says, and all these are very important in my opinion, that underwater cultural heritage is the memory of of this relationship that is between humans and the ocean, and is what connects us with the ocean. Okay. Then, underwater cultural heritage needs to be preserved to understand our past relationship with the ocean and forecast our future with it. And this forecast has also this is also important for maritime spatial planning, which is a real foresight and forecast things. It's planning. Okay. The underwater cultural heritage and its natural environment form one indivisible whole. You, marine archaeologists, you know very well this, indivisible ecosystem, because damaging one puts the other at risk. And there are many scientific papers, etc., that claim this principle. And then, finally, underwater cultural heritage is irreplaceable, and ocean productivity should not jeopardize its long-term protection. The most important for us, that are maritime spatial planners and economists and so on, is that underwater cultural heritage is a major contributor, and this is acknowledged by the UNESCO. I think it's revolutionary, let's say, to the blue economy. And when sustainably managed, it can support the economic development of local communities. And I have to say that the next decade of MSP will put really emphasis on three issues: on the involvement of local communities in planning, on the consideration of maritime spatial planning not on a national level but on a sea basin level, and also will give some directives and directions on how to deepen our knowledge and our approach on MSP. So here, this will be very briefly commented, these slides. It's about how is maritime and underwater cultural heritage considered in national maritime spatial plans. We have a good experience from Germany, for example, from Lithuania, which is a little, not so, you see here the sea. We cannot compare, of course, Lithuania with Greece. A very little planning area. And then we have Finland. In my opinion, Finland is exemplary work, let's say, also from the point of view that the Finnish agency that takes care of this is very well dealing with the federation of all the stakeholders and mainly divers. You know better all these things on this issue. That is, they involve also divers in this planning. And they are also working very much on the underwater landscape. And this is also important. And we can compare with all the work that has been done by the Council of Europe about the terrestrial landscape. There is also a great enterprise, let's say, that could be developed on underwater landscape. And also people that can work on this, architects, landscape architects, for underwater landscape architects. Well, here is the action of, is presented the action of Finland. Although Finland has not yet ratified the Convention on the Protection of UCH, the country's operations are already strongly guided by the Convention. I'm admiring the work that is done, that is conducted by the Finnish colleagues. Here you can see Belgium, and you can realize how many shipwrecks. This is the maritime spatial plan that is only the planning area. And there are 2,015 shipwrecks. Very few of them, however, are declared as cultural heritage sites. In Greece, I think most of you are Greek. Mrs. Kalamara has published another Mr. Maglis, etc., on these issues, on the accessible underwater cultural heritage sites. What we can, let's say, keep from this information is that if we didn't have such, very open-minded archaeologists, it's the second time I say this in one of your conferences, we would not have this result of a harmonious, let's say, coexistence of underwater cultural heritage and diving, the diving activity, and the scientific diving, etc. Some short key messages of this UCH in MSP study are that marine space is gradually shifting away from something simply to be protected from exploitation and degradation towards a place of opportunity and investment. Each sea basin has its own history and culture and its particular cultural heritage. Understanding, recognizing and utilizing underwater cultural heritage as a sensitive asset in the marine space and reconciling its preservation and promotion within the sustainable blue economy perspective is a real challenge. And MSP has to address the principle of the sea as a common, of course, which means balancing priorities amongst multiple users who all have a right of access and use over the same area. And this is the difficult thing on how to implement. MSP is also about the relationship between people, society, and the sea. This is also the relationship that maritime archaeologists try to understand from a historical perspective. So the MSP process can benefit from an understanding of the historic environment, including engagement with coastal and maritime archaeologists. MSP under an integrated place-based approach creates more opportunities for MUCH to receive greater attention in terms of protection and management. Such an approach is considered ideal for tackling the growing competition among sea uses, while mitigating the pressures inflicted by these uses on nature and culture. I think that we should introduce this idea of the reconnection of nature and culture also at sea. The tangible and intangible cultural values and heritage associated with the sea continues to be neglected in MSP due to inherent difficulties in defining and highlighting cultural values, but also in connecting them to specific places to allow a place-based approach to planning. And here we have, from this sentence, comes, a methodology on how to connect with specific places to allow a place-based approach with MSP. This is a six-step methodology presented in this handbook, and apart from the other things that are, the other steps, that are classical, there is the step 4, which is optional, and it's about the design of UCH-driven multi-use scenarios. Multi-use scenarios means, as I told you, the harmonious coexistence of many activities with tourism within maritime, marine protected areas. That is, your project of Stella is really a very advanced project on this, and assess the potential at country and local level. This is optional, of course, but I think that could be perhaps be an issue in the next directive, because we are in the phase of reviewing the previous directive and issue a new directive on MSP. Here you see how much the Commission has invested in multi-use, and among all these projects there are the United, for example, or the Musica, or the Multi-Frame, and others that contain also underwater cultural heritage as a sea use. Here also there are actors relevant to multi-use and the opportunities, an overview of opportunities, and you can see there tourism and UCH, or some other. Here is really strange, if you like planning option, that is the synergies with wind farm planning. This offshore wind farm is located in a site that also has many shipwrecks, of course, not ancient remains, but shipwrecks, and this is also this wants to create a marketing, you know, on this on the promotion of offshore wind farms, and let's say relieve the bad image of these installations, combining with underwater cultural heritage. There are many. So, some recommendations. Maritime archaeology can be seen as an environmental concern also. We are talking about MSP is finally, as it is noted in the directive, is the public process of analyzing and allocating strategically human activities in order to have results concerning the environment, ecological objectives, economic objectives, and social objectives. So, this must be, archaeology should be an environmental concern, and so will be more easily integrated in this strategy. Within the MSP process, MUCH could be considered as a very relevant use to promote the multi-use concept in the marine space. So we are targeting the blue economy also. And through MSP, planners can explore UCH as a component of multifunctional sites. Some other recommendations you see here is about sharing knowledge and experience, supporting the project, MSP policies and decision-making process. There are some details from what is done in the United Kingdom, for example, and how there are some parts of the Maritime Special Plan, and also a link with the good environmental status, that is the Maritime Strategy, the MSFD directive, the other directive of the environmental pillar. So environment and archaeology together. There is a need for marine heritage managers, etc. Let's go very briefly to our project called HERSI. The HERSI was a national project funded by the Hellenic Foundation for Research and Innovation. It's ending on the 23rd of December this month. It is the Pantheon University of Social and Political Sciences and two collaborating partners, the University of Aegean and the University of Thessaly. There were synergies. We like very much synergies. So we like very much to be in synergetic relationship also with all of you. With the Regina MSP, the European Maritime Fisheries and Aquaculture Fund project, which ended on the 31st of October. We were also inside this project. And we were also charged with capacity building for local and regional staff, and there we put a great chapter on how to integrate maritime cultural heritage in MSP. The HERSI project is a project that finally its scope was with two case studies, one in the Papatheodorou Gulf, here in Volos, in collaboration with the University of Thessaly, the planning department, of course. And the other case study was in the Dodecanese, here, there, you know, South Aegean. And we are talking about a new pattern of organization of maritime space in marine functional zones. And we are also dealing with participatory procedures with local communities. And also, we define socio-culturally significant areas through participatory procedures with local communities. Finally, last deliverable, let's say, is the community of practice on cultural values in MSP. This community of practice will be assisted by this by the Hersey GeoPortal, because we have also constructed a GeoPortal together with the University of the Aegean, where we will have not only declared monuments but also non-declared and also intangible cultural heritage in the islands, on these islands, for example. There is a website that will be fully functional in a few days. These can be the goals and objectives of the community of practice. And here its organization. We are intending to expand the Hellenic community of practice in more in Mediterranean community of practice on cultural values in MSP. Because we have the background, that is, we have already from the Commission a community of practice that is working with practitioners. That is, a community of practice is not theory; it's practice. The members are practitioners, and they are exchanging in order to find solutions to do problem solving, etc. Okay, so this is the community of practice. It's a social learning based scheme. And the Commission has already a community of practice on MSP in the Mediterranean. So combining the two, the UCH community of practice and the other one already functioning, will be a good thing. You see here the two case studies, and the key outcome of this work is that the Greek island space needs an adaptive organization in marine functional zones that encompass clusters of islands with socio-economic complementarity, that from the point of view of services of general economic interest, energy, transportation, health services, etc., and mainly socio-cultural continuity. We have analyzed the socio-cultural continuity between these islands. And so we are suggesting this organization of the island space, which also has a soft power, let's say, meaning for Greece. Here are just some articles of us about mapping and assessing cultural ecosystem services, for example, to inform maritime spatial planning. The clustering of maritime cultural heritage through strategic participative planning and social management, the case of the West Pacific, you see there. And finally, I'd like to show you that we have also began to edit state special issue on heritage. Thank you for your attention. Thank you very much, and you are all welcome to join our community of practice. You will have the opportunity via the website www.her.c.eu to apply. To apply, and then you will be accepted with your brief bio and photo, and you will be accepted in our community of practice. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.